But now tell me, I want to talk about a little bit of the dark side.
Sure.
I want to talk about things that people don't talk too much about.
Sure.
And I know that you're one of those who will, because that's the beauty that you resonate out of.
बोलोगे यार क्या बोलोगे
हकीकत.
अच्छा ठीक है you're trapping me because I can't lie मैं बोल देता हूँ.
इंडिया में अगर तुम देखो ना, एक बहुत फनी चीज देखा है मैंने. If you see capital raise, you see venture capital, private equity per se, it's very nascent still in this country. The growth you would have seen in the last 15 odd years. एक curve आया, लोगों को समझ में आया. But unfortunately, what I see in India is fundraising is glamorized so much, is spoken about so much, कि यार बंदे का credibility is not about creating a धंधा as much as credibility is to say कि मैंने capital raise कर लिया. भाई मैंने ना 100 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट कमाया, उससे ज़्यादा मैंने ना 500 करोड़ के कैपिटल रेज कर लिया. सो वन पार्ट इज दिस ओवर ग्लैमराइज्ड कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ फंड रेजिंग, एंड द सेकेंड पार्ट इज नो वंस टॉकिंग अबाउट एन एग्जिट, विच आई थिंक इज वॉट शुड बी ग्लैमराइज्ड. क्योंकि जब आप एक एग्जिट दे रहे हो, यू आर डूइंग वेरियस थिंग्स, राइट. You're creating a system which can trust, an ecosystem which can trust the flow of capital right from input to output and the entire throughput. So, bhai, honestly, do you think funding is gradually becoming more of a pedigree test to say कि यार elitist marker में मैं एक elitist founder बन गया the moment I get the founding and I do the PR? Or do you think funding is a construct where यार जितना चाहिए उतना ही raise करना चाहिए? What is your take? Because I see too many people giving a lot of mixed emotions about it, and I find it also confusing a lot of young founders who want to build a business कि भाई धंधा बनाना है या capital raise करना है.
No, so you asked a very interesting question, and I think this is the answer not just you and me, but everybody is looking for, all of the whole ecosystem.
It's a scandalous question.
It's a scandalous question, and and I think there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
Let's be fair, right? Capital is important, right? You when you start a company, you have to be sufficiently capitalized to grow the company. वरना आप बड़े हो भी नहीं सकते, right? The time it will take may be too long, right? In today's world, gone are the days when you had 25-30 years to build a company. You have at best 4-5-6 years where you last. Otherwise, you'll just be cash trapped. But now the problem is the ecosystem, the way it has been built today, right? And I've been reading a lot about it and talking to a lot of investors, and we are in the market actually notorious to saying no. We've said no from $10 million checks to $2 million checks already, and we are just a 3-year-old company. Today the valuations are driven by your top line, right? So जो भी आपकी top line है, now it's up to you to negotiate, is it forward looking or backward looking, but your valuation is defined by that. That's what the VC will give you. Back in the day, the valuation used to be 8 to 10x. Today, they will fight for 4 to 5x. But that is where we are. The challenge in that, however, is that while everybody will push you to do a fundamentally strong business, right? In my business, fundamentally strong means don't give too much credit in market, sell on cash, have all the system processes that we talked about, the guardrails, have your finances in order, accounts in order, bookkeeping management. A lot of those fundamentals which a lot of startups are not doing properly. There are too many receivables in the market.
भाई माल तभी निकलना चाहिए जब पैसा गल्ले में आए. Simple. Let's be very brass tack about it, right?
Yeah, as one cost. Yeah. Also, आपकी मतलब आपके taxes paid है, GST paid है. Lot of those
SOPs are in place.
SOPs in place. In fact, even your secretarial compliances are right or not right. Right. One of the things when we were doing the round, we didn't have any of those problems, right? हमारा तो मतलब. So इन सब चीजों के लिए कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. ये तो हाइजीन चेक में माना जाता है. मगर जो बिजनेसेस जो आगे जाके फेल होते हैं वो होते हैं जो ये सब चला नहीं पाते, राइट? सो व्हाइल द वीसी नेटवर्क्स आर एक्चुअली गिविंग यू वैल्यू ओनली ऑन द टॉप लाइन ग्रोथ, बट नॉट गिविंग यू एनी वैल्यू फॉर फंडामेंटल, इन अ वे यू आर डैंगलिंग अ कैरेट फॉर मी टू डू थिंग्स which will only drive my top line, which is leading the ecosystem to make mistakes. Young founders hungry for growth capital with all good intent will fall trapped to this problem because वो कहेगा यार कि मैं तो अभी अपना धंधा बढ़ाता हूँ, top line बढ़ाता हूँ, bottom line गई तेल लेने, right? Which actually is a very, very wrong problem because I think somewhere even the investors who are more mature now, they've already seen the 2000 curve. Now we are in the post-COVID phase. They've done the pre-COVID high valuation phase. I think they also need to start educating themselves and their teams and the ecosystem in a way where you value the business and many other factors other than top line. अभी सिर्फ ये hungry for top line growth और ऐसा नहीं है कि VC को फायदा हो रहा है. The investors are not getting any exits.
Exactly.
Businesses are failing.
Exactly.
They are the only ones losing money. But there is nobody right now saying anything about it. And if
Why do you think that's happening? Because end of the day, I want to connect these two pieces. यार टॉप लाइन चेस करके अगर आप टॉप लाइन ड्रिवन धंधा बनाने के लिए फोर्स करोगे फाउंडर को, तो ओनली ऑब्जेक्टिव इज कि भाई एक पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम में उसका स्टेक एज इन द इन्वेस्टर स्टेक उसको किसी और को चिपकाना है एंड एग्जिट कर लेना है. बट द मैच्योर इन्वेस्टर, द ग्रोथ कैपिटल इन्वेस्टर इज नॉट गोइंग टू गो इनटू द टॉप लाइन. उसको तो देखना है बॉटम लाइन का क्या सिचुएशन है, हाउ हेल्दी इज योर बॉटम लाइन. सो लाइक यू वेरी करेक्टली स्टेटेड, द एग्जिट एवेन्यूज आर ड्राइंग, द अपॉर्चुनिटीज टू गो अक्रॉस एंड सेल आउट टू समबडी एल्स इज ड्राइंग. Finally, the cash is not there because the top line is artificially bulged up.
Right.
And then you suddenly realize that the business is going to completely, shrivel down. So end mein to the entire ecosystem is losing. Why do you think this still is happening? Is it FOMO?
Of course it is FOMO. Now imagine we were making unicorn valuations by the hour in the last
Correct.
Just in when we came out of COVID.
2 years, 3 years ago.
3 years ago, right? Imagine all the growth capital which was put at that unicorn valuation, उसका भी क्या होगा ना, उसको एग्जिट मिल रहा है.
Correct.
IPO होता हुआ नहीं दिख रहा, तो जिसने उस पैसा लगाया उसका क्या होने वाला है. So somewhere I think the bleed will come all the way to the system, whereby even the founders are suffering because the VCs have dropped the valuations. The ecosystem is suffering, and people who really want to make fundamental businesses are unable to drive it properly, because you know what, they will have to give a larger share of their check, because in the lust for making it fundamentally strong, which will deliver better top line growth, more quality top line growth, but in the
Longer
medium to
vintage.
long term, longer vintage, not कि वो 6 महीने 8 महीने में हो जाएगा.
So collateral damage is the founder's equity finally.
It's a joke, but there is a leading beer company. I will not take its name. Or when I was working in the alcohol sector, that and everybody knows it. So when I say it, it started the craft beer revolution in India. And from there, it turned out that and that was glamorized like another level. Craft beer as a category is anyways glamorous, and over and above, capital raising was happening. That company is still, I think, doing 3-figure losses after about a decade in existence. Right? यार मुझको नहीं पता, और उस टाइम मुझे यही इंस्पायर करता था. बट एज आई एम मैच्योरिंग एज अ फाउंडर, यार ये कोई धंधा है? 200 करोड़ का लॉस हर साल लोगे आप. मतलब आई एम श्योर देयर इज अ पार्ट टू प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी दे हैव शोन टू देयर फ्यूचर इन्वेस्टर्स. वो आएगा,
और वो पाथ आएगा. ये सब पाथ
जैसे वो एक महान व्यक्ति कहते हैं ना, अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं.
अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं.
बस भाई, राइट. So
नहीं, हम उस हिसाब से तो अच्छे दिन आ गए.
But that being said, recently a couple of founders from another craft beer company invested in my company. तो मैं उनको ये बता रहा था यार कि जब मैं फाउंडर नहीं था, तब मुझे वो वाली बियर कंपनी और उसका ग्रोथ जर्नी ज्यादा अट्रैक्ट करता.
So the कहानी inspired you as against हकीकत.
अब जब मैं फाउंडर खुद बन गया हूँ, 3 years into it, right? अब मुझे आप लोग ज्यादा इंस्पायर करते हो कि आपने आज तक कोई कैपिटल उठाया नहीं है, आपका अपना बिजनेस है, आराम से चलाते हो, किसी की सुननी नहीं है. एंड यू नो व्हाट, यू आई बिलीव आर मोर फंडामेंटली स्ट्रांग. यू बीन रनिंग इट प्रॉफिटेबल फ्रॉम डे वन.
द पावर ऑफ बूटस्ट्रैपिंग, यार, इट्स अमेजिंग.
ऐसा नहीं, तो दैट मींस हो सकता है. दैट
Of course हो
मींस द
सकता है.
सेम कैटेगरी, सेम दिस थिंग, क्या होगा, आपका रेवेन्यू उनसे आधा होगा, बट आधा मोर इज व्हाट इज बेटर. सो आई थिंक समवेयर टू डिसाइड इज आधा मोर प्रॉफिटेबल or
double with no profit,
but thousands and thousands of crores of losses that you've
accumulated.
covered. So
in fact, it's beautiful because I was chatting with Vivek, again a very dear friend of mine, and I was telling him, यार वो बंदा ना, I told you about this offline when I was talking, कि वो टाटा स्काई बेचता था, और वहाँ से उठ के आज 200 करोड़ का वैल्यू का एक कंटेंट कंपनी बना के रखा हुआ है, कंटेंट ट्रेडिंग कंपनी, एंड नॉट अ सिंगल रुपी ऑफ एक्सटर्नल फंडिंग, completely bootstrapped. So the power of bootstrapping also is insane, right? It's crazy in its own context. So now, how do you and see, this is like that FOMO in the market to say कि भैया यार अगर मैं नहीं लिया, कोई और ले लिया, तो यार वो एंट्री लेवल बैरियर बना देगा, मैं छूट जाऊंगा.